I want to talk to you tonight about what I call lessons from the boardroom or lessons of leadership. Now, the boardroom is an analogy for not just my time on The Apprentice and the time that I spend in the boardroom, which of all the contestants on the show, as you all know, I spent the most time in the boardroom. My friends, in fact, called me Neo from Matrix because I always dodged all the bullets in the boardroom. But the lessons from the boardroom really is an analogy for the broader boardroom of life. My time at Procter & Gamble, at Harvard Business School, in the dot-com era, at Goldman Sachs, and all the things that I felt like I've learned over the years that can be applicable to the audiences that I get, the privilege of speaking to. Most importantly, I am the type of individual that I will not sit up here tonight and say that these are my 15 things to make you successful and therefore you go out and make $1 million too, or this is the way you should live your life and this is how you'll be successful. What I do is I live my life and I try to lead by example, and I filter from all the positive people in my life. And so hopefully tonight you'll be able to take some of these nuggets and filter them and make them applicable for you and not take this as, Kwame's Gospel 101. So, yes, lessons from the boardrooms are tips for playing the game of life, both professionally and personally. Yes, they draw some on my apprentice experience and different things that have occurred in my life. But most importantly, like every great story, it starts out with an interesting little parable. So we all have to get into our Mr. Rogers mode and put on our little thinking caps and feel warm and fuzzy and remember what it's like to imagine. So I want you to imagine with me. Imagine that the year is 2000 and that you are a newly minted Harvard MBA. You're proud, chest out, cap to the side, tassel. Your parents are there at graduation. You've got your big offer letter in hand from Goldman Sachs, the world's #1 investment bank, and you are headed to New York City in the summer of 2000. You pack up the U-Haul, get all your stuff, head into Brooklyn, unpack your stuff, first day of work, Wall Street, the big ticket. Now you get to Wall Street and you think that Ed McMahon is going to be waiting for you with the big check saying, "Welcome, Kwame," because you made it from Wall Street. You came from Harvard, you got to Wall Street, of course it's going to be big money. Guess what? Over the next 3 years, you experienced the worst equity market in the history of the equity market since the Great Depression. The worst 3-year slide. Everyone's getting fired from 2000 to 2003. Everyone's getting paid less. No one's making the big money that they promised. And essentially, you're wondering, what in the hell went wrong? So I want you to imagine with me the environment you're in. So once you're imagining that, and I'm sure you all get a little disillusioned or a little disgruntled in some of the jobs that you have or maybe here academically, and you tune out a little bit, and I think when we all tune out, we do somewhat of the same thing. We start shooting emails around at work. We're supposed to be working, we're shooting emails to our friends, right? So one of my friends shoots me an email, summer of 2003, and he says, "We should do this show." Subject line, show. "We should do this show. There's a show with Donald Trump, Mark Burnett from Survivor, and NBC. And it could be a great platform for us to use to launch businesses. Not, how do you go on and become a reality TV star or, join the next Real World cast, but what if we use this thing as a platform, just like 2 other New England boys did, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, when they did Good Will Hunting, they used it to break into the entertainment business. What if we use The Apprentice as our platform to become entrepreneurs and our platform to become business people?" And I said, this is a great idea. You're onto something here, but I'm busy here at work. I got rich people to call. That's what I did. I managed money for wealthy people. I said, I got rich people to call, so call me back. So a week later, he calls me back. He says, "How's the application coming? I'm very excited about this. Have you downloaded it? Have you filled out your essays?" And I'm like, "What application?" He's like, the Apprentice, the application, the show. And I'm like, "No, I haven't had a chance. I've been busy calling rich people, trying to build my little business. Things are tough here." So he goes, "You know what? You're not taking this seriously." And he says, "I'm going to grab the bull by the horns and wrestle this thing to the ground. I'm going to make this happen for us." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I got to call rich people. Don't email me anymore." So he goes and he picks up the phone book and he looks up Mark Burnett Productions in Los Angeles. He doesn't know anybody, has no connections, his father doesn't have a lot of money, none of that kind of Hollywood story. He picks up the phone book and calls Mark Burnett Productions in Los Angeles. He has to speak to the casting director for the new show, The Apprentice. The casting director picks up the phone. He says, "Hi, my name is Dave Smith." He says, "I'm a Wharton graduate. I work at JP Morgan on Wall Street, and I'm a young professional." He says, I have a best friend. His name is Kwame Jackson. He works at Goldman Sachs on Wall Street. He's a Harvard Business School graduate, and he's a young professional. We both are interested in your show, and I bet you don't have a whole lot of people like this applying. The casting director says, you know what? We don't. You all sound really interesting. Don't worry about downloading the application. Don't worry about filling it out. Don't worry about going to your respective city and standing in line to interview for the casting call.